Good evening and welcome to another episode of Sugar and Silk. My name is Ben Doughty.
My name is Michael Silk Olajide.
And we are delighted to be joined this evening, afternoon, depending where you're watching, by the inimitable Gregory Townes, former professional boxer, turned man of God, who has, I've been friends with this guy on Facebook for a little while now. And his whole energy is just so kind of passionate and different and against the stream that I knew we had to get him on the show. And we're delighted to have you, Greg. How you doing?
Hey, thank you guys. I'm really honored to be on the phone with you guys, Ben and Silk. I follow you guys anyway, and I really enjoy the commentary. And you guys always cover a lot of stuff. And hey, you know, I can't do everybody's show because I'm a little raw for a lot of shows. So
yeah, that's why we wanted you. That's why we wanted you in the first place.
Yeah, so you know, people, a lot of people cringe at some of my views and stuff, but it is what it is. What are you gonna do?
Well, let's get to cringing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first thing, Greg, a week from now, next Saturday night, we have the Josh Taylor defends his WBO Junior Welterweight Championship against Teofimo Lopez. Now, Lopez is attracted. He's a bit of a kind of polarizing character anyway, but he's attracted quite a lot of heat for comments he's made in the build-up to the Taylor fight when he says he said it more than once too. He's making a point of being quoted saying, I want to kill Josh Taylor. He says, with Lomachenko, I took his heart. He says, Taylor ain't got no heart, so what can I do? What can I take from him? His life. How do I scare people even more than I already have done? Take a man's life. I posted it the other day, and I knew I would get a rise out of everybody saying, that's disgusting, that's too far, hype's one thing and trash talk, but this is too far. And you were one of the only people who said, that's a beautiful fighting spirit. I love this. Please explain that to me.
Do you think he meant it literally?
He's saying it in those... Go on.
No, I was just saying that was actually my comment when I said that's beautiful fighting spirit. I think, I don't... Listen, guys have said worse. Mike Tyson said he wanted to drive somebody's bone up into his brain one time. Roberto Duran is on record back in the day when he was young and strong, saying that he wanted to demolish and kill Esteban de Jesus. So this stuff is not nothing new. I think that Teofimo saying that he's his father. So everyone knows his father got a big mouth. Everyone knows his father will never shut up. He's just more of it. He's showing a little more of his father. Father's him saying he's gonna kill Josh Taylor. I don't see nothing wrong with it. It aggravated me when I looked on the post and I see pretty much 99% of all the fans in the comments was with this wimpy, I call it wimpy stuff. Yes, he needs to be banned. Hey, let me just touch on one thing just to set an example of it. There was a guy on the news that punched somebody when he was down, and I seen the post, and the guy went down, he hit him a couple of times, swipe shots, when he was on the canvas already, and people was saying he got fined like $200,000. I was like, what? And they also, people was calling for him to be banned from boxing. I'm like, when the hell did that happen? Like, you know what I mean? I'm starting to think that, is it me or is it just people? All right, I'll give you another example. There was a video. I'll end with this.
Stay on your point for a second, Greg, because that's a good point, actually. In boxing, when you score a knockdown, a lot of times you're just so hyped and you're just so in the moment that you can't even really tell the opponent is on the ground. He may be on the knee or something like that. I know Roy had done that with
Montel.
Yeah, with Montel, and even I think Marciano did it with Joe Louis. I'm not sure.
No, he did it with John Cockle. He did it with Don Cockle.
With Don Cockle too, but he also caught Joe Louis off the top of the head with when Joe was down on the knee, or very close to the ground anyway, sort of like kicked him and walked away. And
that was Walcott, Michael. Sorry to be an interrupt. That was Joe Walcott.
That stuff happens. Like it happens all the time.
Joe Walcott, you're right. Yes.
It might. We're too politically correct these days. I mean, there was a woman fighter. She might have been a UFC fighter, but I seen the video and she knocked the girl out. The girl was out cold or groggy on the ground, the camera, and she dived on the floor and was hugging her and was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "No, sorry, that doesn't belong in boxing." And everybody in the comments was saying it was so beautiful. It reminds me of football. Like back in the day, guys, it was just defensive backs come take guys' head clean off, and you come over the middle. That's just what it was.
Jack
You
Tatum.
didn't get around and hold hands and pray when guys didn't get up. And I know nobody wants no one hurt. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I got a heart. I'm a deacon. I love people. I pray for people every day. But boxing is boxing, and I think that kind of stuff. And Mike as a warrior, and Mike as a warrior, you know, like we all warriors know that this stuff happens. We just don't really talk about it. It's like I think it's too much talking about it, Mike.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? The intent of a boxer should always be to knock the guy out. You're going in there to stop to get the fight stopped before it goes the distance. That's what you want to do. Your intent, you cannot be confused about what your intent is as a boxer. It is to hit that other man on the head, and these are the things that happen. But you'd like to know. I mean, partially that's what the referee's in there for. Like if a guy gets hurt, he's the one that has to stop that before the guy gets that third, fourth, fifth shot in.
Yep. So where do you stand, Michael, on him saying, I want to kill Josh Taylor, I want to take his life? And yes, Mike Tyson
I really do believe that. And I do believe it's hyperbole. I don't believe, you know what I mean? He's not really talking about.
Well,
where do you stand on the utterance? Never mind that I know he doesn't mean it, and I know you know what happened.
Well, what if he did mean it though? Like even if he did mean it,
what's the difference? That he wants to kill him. I've never really thought of it from that because I myself, I'd want to knock someone out, give him a 10 count. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. But I don't know why I would want to kill this person unless I have something personal and he has something personal against me. I don't know if they've known each other, they've had exchanges. And if they haven't had those exchanges and he doesn't know him personally, then he's probably just saying it to hype the gate because everybody knows this is what's it these days. You know what I mean?
So you don't have a moral issue with somebody saying that for the sake of hyperbole.
I think if it's for that reason, then it's actually kind of like it's nonsense. It doesn't really make any sense because it's obvious that's what you're doing it for. Now, if you have a track record and you know each other and these guys are coming at each other in that way, I'm going to kill him. That's a mutual thing. I totally understand it. You know what I mean? But it's not, you don't really want to put a person 6 feet under, or you don't really want to paralyze them. It's just, you just want to give them that 10 count.
This is a reflection on the boxing fans. I keep telling people all the time, this is a reflection on the boxing fans. Most fighters they don't care about that stuff. It's the new school boxing fans, the ones that I ran about constantly on my channel. These new school jackasses, I call them. These are the ones that are bringing this stuff into boxing. It's almost like these computer nerds. You know what I mean? That are computer literate. They know how to share stuff. They know all that. And they see. Listen, I'll tell you, back in the day, boxing, you could get in. The fear is what kept people out of boxing. Like you had to be a special breed to be a boxer. So what happens now is that everybody can be a boxer. I see girls in the gym, 80 pounds. I'm a boxer. I see kids that go into the gym for 1 day, all right, 1 or 2 days, and they might be in the same gym with a professional, okay, but they're in the same gym, so they buy some pretty gloves, pretty headgear, and they spar with their friends, and they go around saying they're a boxer. People are doing pad work. And so everybody's a boxer. But before, it was like almost the fear was the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's no fear now because anyone can say they're a boxer.
Is it too inclusive? Is it too inclusive today, Greg? Is it too much?
I think it is.
Yeah.
If you got a guy that walks into the gym, all right, let me just put it like this. I won the New England Junior Olympics when I was 14 years old. So I was training around 12 or 13. But these days, kids go into the gym and they got YouTube and social media now. You know what I'm saying? So social media makes it a whole different animal. So even the fighters, look, Rolly Romero, Nico Ali, these guys do not exist even 20, 30 years ago. They don't exist. They don't even exist.
And you know, Greg, I deal with white-collar boxers as well. I mean, I've trained amateurs, I've trained professionals, but I've worked with white-collar guys. I've worked with a lady who promotes white-collar shows for over 10 years. And she puts belts up for them because she's selling them that illusion, you know, and it's all part of the whole kind of the whole 9 yards of the style and profile. But you get these guys winning, you know,
It's retarded, Mike. Hey, I got guys in like in New England where I'm from. They got like 4 fights, but they're on YouTube and they're posting videos on Facebook, and it's like, I'm a star. These kids are demanding $5,000 for a 4-round fight. Dude, I fought for 4. My first fight, like I didn't come back home to fight till like my 6, 7, 8, 9 fight. I had to go to New York. I didn't ever fight at home. These kids got 5 fights now, and they think that they're superstars, and they haven't fought anybody. Now, come on.
John Scully says that. John Scully says whenever he sees a guy who's 2-0, who's got like a whole entourage, or with tracksuits with his name on, he thinks this guy is going nowhere. You know what I mean?
Wait. You guys are ridiculous, man. I'm telling you. Speaking of Scully, because me and Scully go way back. Like in 1987, when we for the New Englands, me and Scully was 65. We was the same weight class.
Okay, yeah,
we was the best on the team. So they knew we was the 2 best. If we fought each other, one of us is not going to the Nationals. That was in 87.
Yeah.
Okay? And I moved up to 78. So that year I went to the Nationals at 78. We drew straws, whatever. I went up to 78. John went to the Nationals that year at 65. There was 87 National Golden Gloves in Knoxville, Tennessee. I went 78, but I was really 65.
Wow.
So in that year, they said the light heavies was heavy. They was stacked with Andrew Maynard. They had Donald Stevens. There was a lot of tough guys that light heavy. I had to fight bigger, tougher guys. I did not think I went to the semis, but I always remind John that I would have won the Nationals in 87, man.
Yeah, you did him a favor. Guys, before we go off...
That's my man, though. By the way, I don't want that to my man, though.
But before we veer off in whatever direction we please, which we will do, since we build this as a Taylor Lopez preview, can I just say, perhaps I could get your thoughts on how that fight's going to pan out. It's hard to keep up with the actual World Championship picture today in boxing. I couldn't remember if Josh Taylor had forfeited all the belts he had one way or another because of politics. It turns out, I just checked today, he's still got the WBO belt. It's really hard to keep track, like I say. So he's defending that against Teo next Saturday.
Well, bring me up to current, because his last fight was Josh Taylor was with
Jack Catterall over a year ago, back in February last year. Yeah. And he had a very bad night at the office that particular night. Everybody thought he got beat. I thought he got beat. So he was thought to be churlish in the aftermath, in that people wanted him to admit, I guess, that he got beat, and it was one of those bad calls. So his stock's gone down quite a bit. Lopez's stock has also gone down quite a bit from obviously the high point of beating Lomachenko because he got beat by Kambosos afterwards, and then he looked pretty bad against Sandor Martin last December.
I was there at the Garden. I was there.
You were there. So the thing about this fight, okay, is it's sort of a crossroads fight. Somebody's stock will rise, and it will put somebody back on track. The winner, okay. I think it's a very intriguing matchup because I think it is, trash talk and talk about, wanting to kill people aside. I think it is pretty hard to call this fight. The bookies have got Taylor a betting favourite. How do you see it first, Michael?
I don't know Taylor so well, but I saw certain regression in Lopez style in his style that just kind of it didn't sit. While I was watching him at the Garden, it just didn't really sit well
Lopez,
with him. I saw a lot of hesitation. I saw like confidence in the initially, and then I just saw a lot of hesitation that just got more hesitant all the way through. The longer the fight went, the more hesitant he got, and he wasn't pulling the trigger. He wasn't, defensively doing anything. He just wasn't doing anything that represented that kid that we knew before, and so. Who knows what that is going up to the fight? There's so many things that happen in a fighter's life and a fighter's mind. Who knows what happened before that first bell rang? But this fight is the first fight since the Madison Square Garden, and he really has to bring something. I mean, everyone would be expecting something. Otherwise, I mean, you're only going to be as good as your last fight.
Yeah. Who do you pick, Greg?
For the winner of the Taylor and Teo. Yeah. I think Teo wins. I think people kind of, for some reason, underestimating Teo a little bit. Maybe because he's just been acting like a clown with his comments in the news and in the boxing news and stuff. But I think he beats Josh Taylor. I don't think he stops him because Josh Taylor's a tough kid, but I think Tio wins this fight. I think I'll have to go with Tio on this.
I saw Tiafimo's training, and I see him doing a lot of weights, and I see him doing a lot of strength stuff and a lot of stuff that's more like for a glorious body more than it is for technically training for his fight. And that makes me think that whoever's training him, whether it's his father or anybody else, they're not looking to build him to get better. They're just looking to condition him for this moment and leaving, like, he's going in with the skills he's always had. He has not improved his skill base, and that's a problem that I see for him.
I feel you on that, Mike, because remember the Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury third fight, and Deontay, you see how big he got? Like, he was huge, like arms big, and I said, wow, he looks good, but he ran out of gas in like 2 rounds, literally.
Yes.
So if they're getting to, you're right about that. If they're getting Tio just to look good and all that, I'm a skinny guy, so I was
Greg, I've got to ask you, where do you stand on this modern strength and conditioning cult that has very much kind of come into boxing?
Well, I'll tell you, Ben. I'm old school. I'm always saying old school. I just chop wood, chop trees, old school stuff, training methods. I'm always beating up the pad work and all that junk. I'm always beating that junk up, but I can't. Every other sport, athletes get better. So I don't want to just go all over. I don't want to sound like some old fart that's like, the old school's better. I don't want to sound like that guy. So I kind of reserve a little bit. I want to just rip into all the new school training methods because guys don't got no more stamina. I mean, guys are fighting 15-round fights and be ready to go after 15 rounds back in the day. Guys are winded, holding on the ropes after 12 rounds. So you can't really tell me that they're getting any better conditioning, per se. But I'm scared to go all the way because technology and stuff, improves everything. So I don't want to just say that, but I'm going to go old school all the way, Ben.
But the thing is, you know what? Technology improves the technological object, like my iPhone, over my old dial phone that I used to have. Yep. But does it really make the human body better? Which is, I mean, we're an organism, you know what I mean? So maybe it'll help us. It'll time us to make us try to go harder, try to go faster. But the human body's only going to be able to do what the human body can do. Yeah. Right? Ultimately. Right. And I don't know. I just don't. I also think like the same parameters that are on other sports or that are on boxing are not in other sports.
Exactly. I think I've always said that I don't think boxing has seen the same progression as sports of numbers and distance and times like athletics, which is so easily measurable, the progress in those sports. Yes. I think with boxing, and the other thing that we don't take into account is that the athletes who are breaking those records on a consistent basis, they have elite competition unwaveringly, consistently, forever. In boxing, we've seen the industry become a little bit more disingenuous and a little bit slicker to the point where guys are not fighting the same competition they fought back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. And everybody knows the old axiom, iron sharpens iron. And that is partly what makes fighters great. I'm not saying that guys like Crawford and Spence couldn't be as great as Leonard and Hearns, but they're not. Possibly because of their competition more than anything, and the different pathways that fighters walk these days when they used to have to compete against one another. That is a major argument as to why boxing might not have evolved in the same way other sports are consistently evolving.
Well, and also what you were saying about iron sharpens iron. Sometimes when you have like the element of competition steps up just because you have somebody great that you have to prepare for. So never mind having to actually fight somebody great, but I'm a kid, and Michael Nunn was a kid, and Frank Tate and all those, Iran Barkley, and we're looking at Marvin Hagler. He's the champ. So we're saying to ourselves, in order for me to get to him, I have to be able to do all these things.
You're fighting that level.
Train that hard. I have to be mentally strong. I have to be physically in perfect condition. I have to hit hard. I have to be fast. I have to make a miss, all that kind of stuff. So that automatically, every day you're training, you have a different goal in there. When you have somebody that's pedestrian as the champ, automatically your level of, you don't step up to the plate.
And imagine, Michael, if you'd have thought, well, I could beat James Kinchin for the title. He's got the WBC title. Or I could fight James Schuler for the WBA. Or you know what? There might even Tony Simpson, you know, he's got the IBF, so maybe I could beat him. It's not the same, is it?
Yeah, no, it's not the same. And there was Juan Roldan, he was there, and I was offered that fight first, and all the rest of that. You know, it's just like, okay, you know what I mean? It's obviously they're real fighters, and there's no doubt about that. But they're not Marvin Hagler. So you know what I mean? It's like your whole level of preparation. And your mental, your physical, and everything you're doing, every fight you're fighting up until then is about getting to Marvin Hagler, and that changes the whole game.
I got a theory on that, guys. I got a theory about when we talk about the because I think because I'm always ranking on the new school, just the actual feel. Like you talk about Marvin Hagler, Silk, and these guys are iron. We talk about iron sharpens iron. Yeah. And I think the fighting style today, that shorter roll, that pop shot, I call it fencing. That's what I call it, fencing. Yeah. I call it fencing. And I think, and this is just my theory. I'm not saying it's true. I'm not saying nothing like that. I'm just saying I think these kids have figured it out that they can make more money sitting on the belt. So I think they kind of, because they're kind of buddies now. So they're like, why should we fight when we can get the bag, man? We don't need to fight each other to get the bag these days. And nobody's making them fight. Back in the day, they had to be made to fight. Now they can invent belts, the WBC, Intercontinental. They can invent stuff so these kids can sit on the belt. And look, I'll tell you this too. When I was fighting as an amateur, not even pro, as an amateur, New England amateur, any fighter in New England that was 165, I want to kill him. If we was at the mall and I see you at the mall and you was 165, I'm trying to start a fight with you right there in the mall. I didn't care. If we was at the movies, if you was with your girl, I didn't care. You know who's gonna be 165 in New England but me. I don't care. And I'm saying these kids don't get that same fight. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because in New England area right now, we got a bunch of kids that are the same weight and they share. They actually share. Yeah. They go to the same gym. If I was in the same gym with someone 65 back in the day, I'll run them out of the gym. We're gonna start a fight. These kids, you want to jump up over here? I'll jump up over there. And they say, I'm not gonna they'll share. Okay, you want to spar tonight? Do a couple of rounds. Want to go 10 rounds tonight? And it's like, I'm like, when did this happen? Like, you know what I mean? When did that happen? These guys. So I think again, if you guys know, I always reserve just totally smashing the new school because I don't want to be that guy that's always cracking on the new school. I don't want to be that guy. But it's a lot of evidence telling me that the fighters are not the same. The game itself is not the same. And I think I'm veering off a little bit, guys. You could just reel me back in because
we're going with it good in a good direction. I mean, because I know you have a major feeling that there's a lot of style over substance in boxing culture today, Greg.
Too much. I think it's about money. I mean, it's always been about money, but
yeah.
I mean, they brought this thing in where it's no honor left in boxing. I say it all the time. There's no honor left. It's just about.
They did. It is. It's always been about money, but it hasn't always been the fighter that one made the money or especially never talked about it. You know what I mean? Like it was before, it was kind of like the promoters and the managers would talk about the money and the fighter would say, well, you got to talk to my manager about that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And the fighter had 100% trust in their trainer, in their manager and promoters in order to get what they're supposed to get. Obviously that failed. And now, fighters do have to take care of their money. They have to ask their managers, where's my cut? What's my cut going to be? What's this fight worth? And so a fighter does have to do double duty. They have to almost like be there and manage themselves. You can see a lot of fighters that hit the top, they start promoting themselves, right? Like,
yeah. Who started that, Mike? Who started that? Mike Trainer and Sugar Leonard? Who started that?
Sugar Leonard, yes.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like that changed boxing. I mean, Ray made a couple. I mean, Ray also changed up how you actually fight. Like he'd steal the last couple of seconds around.
30-second flurry.
Yeah. Yep. And then De La Hoya picked up on that, and then everyone started running that one.
I think that's a cliche, Michael, about 30 seconds. in that particular fight, and I don't want to get into it because it annoys me.
Oh, not the Hagler fight. No, he definitely.
That particular fight, he was doing well in the other 2 minutes and 30 as well. That was
for Marvin Hagler, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, but in any case, but it's interesting though, because some people defend the situation that we are lamenting as older boxing fans and people who've been involved with the sport in the various ways that we have. Some people say, no, it's good that fighters are calling the shots now. It's good that they're more commercially literate and financially savvy, and they understand their commercial value.
Very few are, actually.
And Ben, the fighters these days, they think that if you retire with money, then you're a successful boxer. And I try to tell these kids that I know plenty of fighters that was broke, but there was former world champions. There was great fighters. But these days, the next generation is not going to honor these other fighters. I'm telling you, they're not gonna. I remember I see guys that was drooling a little bit. We back in the day when I was coming up as an amateur, but they was great fighters. There was worries, the champions, and we respected them. But now it's just like the world. Like there's no one respected. It's just the money, the bag. So Canelo, you gonna tell? I'm not gonna beat up Canelo too much, but I'm just saying, is he beating Marvin Hagler? I mean, come on. I don't know. He's not beating Marvin Hagler. All right, but you can talk to some of these new school fans, and they actually believe that, and their reason to defend this ridiculous position is that look at all the belts he won. He fought 14 world champions. These stats.
I love that argument, Greg. I love the argument. I mean, Floyd Mayweather was a great fighter, okay, and had a lot going for him. But I love that argument that he's the greatest fighter who ever lived because he beat more world champions than anybody else. That's a self-fulfilling prophecy because they created so many fragment world championships. Do you know that I always do this one? Ray Robinson beat, I believe it was 17 world champions, and Floyd Mayweather beat, I believe it was 24. Now, Ray Robinson beat 17 undisputed world champions, and Floyd Mayweather beat 0 of the same. So.
There you go, man. Hey, look, when they say Floyd Mayweather, and I like Floyd because he showed people how to make money, whatever. But Floyd Mayweather, when they say he beat Sugar Ray Leonard, that's preposterous because he fights the same style as his father did. He's a little better at it. Yeah. Listen, the first argument they'll give you is that, he's not his father. He does it better than his father. Okay, 20% better. I'll give him 30% better. Does a little better. But Sugar Ray Leonard broke that style down all the way. Like, he destroyed it. That shorter road, guys like Brother Duran would have destroyed his ribs. So when guys say that, and I got a video where I break the whole thing down on my channel, that Floyd would never be Sugar Ray Leonard because there's just no way he could have did it because the style is the same, and he already solved that combination.
The fight that I think will be a total nightmare for Floyd is Tommy Hearns. I always get into it with, like you say, some of the newer fans. I always say I could prove in a court of law that Tommy Hearns beats Floyd Mayweather every time. Times out of 100. Literally in a high court of appeal if necessary. But and Michael, I don't imagine you got too much conflict with that, Michael, having traded blows with the hitman.
No conflict here. What a lot of people, what a lot of these kids don't realize is they're going on the superficial. And when I say record, their records, it's the last thing you can go on in boxing. You know what I mean? Like you can have a guy that's like 8-20 and get in the ring with a guy that's 20-0 and give him all sorts of hell if he knows what he's doing. Remember a guy, Jorge Amparo, who was like insanely, he had a losing record. You got him in the gym and you spar with him or in a fight with a top fighter, he's giving you hell.
Yep.
And
Fought Nigel Benn. Fought Nigel Benn.
Oh, he did? Yeah. And he went the distance probably.
10 rounds. Yep.
Yeah, he lost the decision, but the guy is an anvil. Like he's a rock. I was like,
hey, Silk, he'd be a champion today, no doubt.
Right?
Yeah. No doubt in my mind.
People don't understand that kind of thing about him. All you had to do was light a little. I don't know what he did with his management training. All you had to do was light a little fire on him, believe in him, give him a couple of fights. That dude would today he would definitely be rocking things. It's crazy.
They got it easy. Oh, I'm sorry, Ben. Go ahead, Ben.
No.
I'd like to talk a little bit about your professional career, Greg, because looking at the record, you won your first 8 fights straight. You were obviously a prospect who was, saw himself going places. And then your first loss was against another guy called Greg, and then you went in with Andrew Maynard, the 1988 Olympic gold medalist, which is the kind of most illustrious name on your record. Talk to me about in response to any of that.
Not the toughest, I tell people, but the most illustrious. I like that.
Yeah.
Not dogging Andrew, my boy, but hey, my career sums up easy. Here's my career. I never was in shape. The bottom line is, last time I was in shape was when I got back from Knoxville, Tennessee in 1987. I turned pro in 1988. When I got back from the Nationals, I was supposed to stay amateur and go 88 for the gloves. I ended up getting a street fight, get stabbed in the back. After I got stabbed in the back, I couldn't go up there to Lake Placid to the trial, so I said, I'll just turn pro. And I never got in shape. And this is not an excuse, not taking nothing away from Greg Everett. I out of 14 fights, I fought 6 tops in the world, guys. It's not taking nothing away from them guys. I'm just saying, everyone knows, common knowledge in my area. People know Ghetto Greg. Well, I didn't train. That's why Ghetto Greg. That's why.
Let me ask you, why did you get stabbed in the back? Like, what happened?
I came home from the, I was kind of a ghetto superstar, and I was at the club, and it was over this girl, and getting in an argument over this girl, and I guess ended up having a fight in the club, going toe to toe with this dude, and I didn't think I won the fight. And back then, if I didn't think I won the fight, I mean, it was even back and forth, but if I didn't win the fight outright, then I'd just be pissed off all night. So I told the kid, because he's from the neighborhood with us, come on, man, we've been boys since we was kids. Let's take a walk down the street. Let's talk this out. But my idea was to get him out of the club, down the street, and we just fight again. Yeah. What happened was that my brother was there, and him and all his boys, and they didn't know. They followed me, and I didn't know they was. So I goes to me and him. So when we got down the street, I turned around and sucker punched him. He went back and fell down. My brothers they came out of the woodwork. He thought we was jumping him. He pulled the knife out, starts chasing my brother. I started chasing, grabbing him, make sure he don't stab my brother. He turns around, starts chasing me, hit me in the back. Pop, 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 pop. And he hit me about 10 times. Dang. But what saved me, because he missed my heart by this much, what saved me is that the knife broke in my back after the first one. So all the other ones is just enough. And by the way, what saved my life that night was the good Southern New England Golden Glove jackets that Paul Bauer sent them guys. He used to give us the nice ones with the nice hoodies on it, big, thick jackets. That jacket, that Golden Glove jacket actually saved my life that night. But yeah, that's how that happened, Mike. That's how. But listen, I've had more street fights than ring fights. I've been in no imagination, probably about 90 street fights. I've been shot, stabbed. See my neck right there, cut almost right, my head almost like I hit in the face with a jack. I've been in way more danger. The ring was nothing.
Yeah, I've heard.
That
is what I remember. One writer once saying, "As dangerous as boxing might be, for some fighters, the ring will always be a place of relative safety." And it sounded like, in your case. You
got to realize, Ben, that, like I said, I won the New England Junior Olympics when I was 14. I got to go to Governor's Island, New York that year to go to the regionals. I should have won, but I was a kid, and I'd never been to New York. I was wide-eyed, you know what I mean, Mike? I was like, having fun. So I was thinking about fighting. I was eating ice cream, having fun, and I'm losing. I came back with to training school. I went to training school, which is little boys' jail. Then I spent a year in there. I got out, and then I defended the title that I had won in New England against Skid Marty Foley, and he beat me, took the title. I went back to jail. And then I got out again, I think around the next year, and I fought in the Golden Gloves. Lost to Marty again. He went all the way to nationals that year.
So Greg,
then I went back to jail for 3 years.
Greg, so let me ask you, where did your road diverge? Where did you get on and you thought you were going good places and you were going to go and then where did it diverge where you went off into a little bit more, into the darker side of life?
Well, what happened, Mike, was that when I went to the big jail, I went from training school, then I did armed robbery. And I went to the back. Got 12 years. They gave me 4 to serve. I went to the big house, the men's prison. I think I was a fresh 18. But what the blessing of that was that there was a boxing ring in Max. They had a boxing program there back then. and that saved me because I just got in shape, and I mean, you know, I was like James Scott, you know what I mean? I was just training all the time, and then when I got out in 1986. I just didn't miss a beat. I won the AAUs 2 weeks after I got out, 3 weeks after I got out. I won the gloves, 86. And then I ended up going to nationals in 87, and then we know from there what happened. I got stabbed to turn pro.
Yeah.
But
and do you think that what I wanted to find out is like your mental state, where you were, I guess instinctually as an individual, you had obviously the killer instinct to be a fighter, and but what part of it, like, did it cause a certain kind of panic with you that you were going to fight someone and it would have to be a legitimate official in a ring kind of thing? And what stopped you from getting to the place where you could have gotten to? Because obviously you're a talented fighter. What stopped you from getting like to the highest, to the pinnacle?
What stopped me from getting there is that when I turned professional, I got a little signing bonus. I don't know, like $10,000-$15,000, which was like $1 million to me,
of course,
because I was just a dumb kid from the hood, and I never had the money. You know what I mean? So when I got that signing bonus, I become like a ghetto superstar. Hence the name Ghetto Greg. And look, you come to Rhode Island, everyone know. I mean, this is my hood. This, you know, people know who I am. You know what I mean? So I had a brand new Tornado Cougar car. My manager gave me cars. Anyway, I never went back to the gym. Like, there's a saying with me around the New England area. People know that Greg works hard when he's in the gym. No one worked hard on me. You get me to the gym. It's just that you had to get me to the gym. Like, I didn't want to go to the gym. I never trained. You know what I mean? So when you say that, Mike, what really derailed the promise, because I did have promise, I had a lot of talent, is just that I just never got in shape. And I remember my pro debut in Eastern Pennsylvania. Larry Holmes promoted card. Razor Ruddock headlined that card. Mark Holmes was the co-main event. I thought I'd do on a 6-rounder, and I'll never forget what Larry Holmes told me. I beat this kid Larry King, who was pretty decent amateur, and he was way. And after the fight, Larry Holmes told me, "You need to get in shape." That was my pro debut. So Larry Holmes gave me the best advice that I ever should have had. I should have kept it, but I didn't. So that's really what happened.
I'm sorry, Ben. I can't let this go because to me, I'm like this. I know I had one fight where my heart almost jumped out my chest. I was breathing so hard, like the fatigue level, and I just felt so weak against this guy who just kept coming, and I couldn't hit him with it. It was like that dream when you're dreaming you're falling and you're never hitting the ground, but the dread of the ground is coming at you. That's what it was like in real life. You're feeling this guy, they're hitting you, they're touching you, and you can't do anything to keep them off you because you have that fatigue. That happened to me once, and I was like, never is that going to happen again. And I just
makes cowards. They say fatigue makes cowards out of all of us.
Yeah.
And look, when you get tired, I should say like this, and when I train kids, I say you got to get in shape. Don't do what I did, because I try to get you. Look, I come balls in the wall. I'll try to get you out of there, but once I run out of gas, it's all done. So I tell the kids to get in shape, because if you throw 4 punches, and he throws 4 punches, then you throw 3 punches, he throws 4 punches, he's going to say, oh, that's only 3. He's going to up it to 5 punches. You're going to come back with 3 punches. He's going to say, I got him. He's going to switch you another gear. And he's going to run you the hell out of the ring.
Yep.
So the whole thing is just getting in shape. It's not even about skill. You know what I mean? I mean, it's my opinion. It's not even really about skill. So you got a good 1, 2, 3. You get in shape. There's a lot of fighters that can't fight that was world champions. When I say can't fight, not technically sound, not a bunch of natural talent, just in shape and strong and go the distance, and they make money, and some of them become champions. Then you got guys, and I can use me as and let me tell you something. I own my own business now. I'm doing all right. You know what I mean? But as a boxer, I had a lot of talent, and I could have easily been a champion. I know guys that I beat up in the gym all the time. They champions, but you gotta. What I was trying to say is if you don't train, man, you're not gonna make it. It's that simple. I don't care if you don't got a lot of talent. Train hard, and you got a little bit of balls, and you got a little bit of chin, you'll be all right. But if you got a bunch of talent and you don't work hard, let me put it this way. This is the last thing I'll say. I say it a lot, I know, like a preacher. But if you got God-given talent means that you do something better than someone. You run faster, you hit harder, you got more stand, whatever. You God-given talent. If you got God-given talent, then you can't help but be good. In other words, if you train hard, you're going to be great. But if you don't got God-given talent, you train hard, you can only be good. In other words, someone that got God shine said you're better than the rest. Even if you don't train, you're still going to be good. You're never going to stink. But there's guys that don't got no God-given talent. They can become good. Ali was great because he had God-given talent and he worked hard. Plus, he had the mindset. When he said, I'm the greatest, he meant I'm the greatest. He wasn't lip service. He wasn't saying, a lot of guys talk lip service, talk junk. Guys in my neighborhood say, I'll knock you out, Greg Townes. They don't believe it. So it's got to be a belief system. The Bible says that. As a man think of so, believe it. I tell people all the time that boxing is only about confidence. That's all it is, confidence. You got to believe that you can do it. Why do you think guys like Lonnie Smith, I don't know if you remember him, but he was
of course. Lightning Lonnie Smith.
That dude really wasn't that talented. I mean, I'm not trying to dog him. I don't know him personally, but I watch him fight. You guys that jump in, ball into, but wasn't he a champion? I think he was a champion, right? So
yeah, he beat Billy Costello.
He knocked out Billy Costello, right?
Yeah, he beat Billy Costello. But I'm saying I didn't see where he was extra like Roy Jones talented. You know what I'm saying? But
do you know what, Greg? I thought he did have something, a little bit of magic.
He had really fast hands, and he did remind me a little bit.
He was lightning fast, though. He was lightning fast. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. That sounded like I was hating
when
on
I was 16.
Hey, Lonnie Smith, man, if you was watching this, I wasn't trying to hate on you, brother. I want you with a body shot.
There's a guest I'd love to have on. Listen, when I was 16, that was my cup of tea because I wasn't as sophisticated in my analysis and as experienced as I am now. So as a 16-year-old amateur myself, he looked really good to me when we saw him on ITV in Britain. It was like, this guy's got some swagger, you know, and he could punch as well. And he did a number on Costello, who had those 3 defenses of the WBC junior welterweight title. So, you know, Greg, he went out.
I remember sparring with Billy Costello. I remember I sparred with Billy Costello. So, and then when I saw him fight, Lightning Lonnie Smith, I thought this was really going to be something. But Lightning just shut him down.
He took him on like 2 rounds or something, wasn't it? It was early, right?
No, he took him out in about, it was like 8 rounds, you know. But you know what?
I feel bad for saying that now. I wasn't trying to dog Leighton Lonnie Smith when I said it.
But you know,
I was just trying to find a fighter that I could. He could go fight for my take and beat me up.
I had high hopes for Lonnie Smith, and they did a big feature on him in Ring Magazine after he beat Costello, and they were giving him a bit of a push, like they thought he could be a bit of a, you know, bit of a star maybe. Next thing you hear, he's not fighting, he's having political problems, he's having management problems. Next thing you know, he's working for like something like $3.50 an hour in a Denver warehouse. You know, he's like a warehouse man. And they said, but literally, while he was still champion, and they said that the boss at the warehouse didn't even know he employed a world champion, a reigning world champion. And they said, you know, because I remember KO magazine, they said his entourage used to say lightning strikes. And they said the only strike he's going to do if he does a wildcat walkout from his job at the warehouse, you know, at the minute. And then he got knocked out by Rene Arredondo in his first defense, you know, which was and then he became an opponent. He lost that ambition, you know, and became that opponent mindset, which is a shame. So, you know, that was my take on Lonnie Smith.
Yeah, he was I thought he was very talented. He could control, like whatever punch he wanted to throw, he could throw at any point in time. He hit it with power. He seemed a little bit, you know what I mean? He was kind of like loose, like unpredictable, and that kind of unpredictability always works well when you're fighting certain types of fighters, especially. You know what I mean?
You know, Wilfred Benitez fought on that undercard the night that Smith knocked out Costello. Wilfred Benitez had his last decent performance against that guy Kevin Moley that we were discussing with the Hiltons the other week, you know. But Greg, though, did you when you lost to Maynard and the previous opponent, did you your record tells a story that you statistically at least that you see quite often in boxing, where a whole bunch of wins and no doubt high hopes, then you get a loss or two, and then you get a bunch of red entries in the box rec numbers. Did you lose the ambition? Did it become about picking up a purse for you? And did you change your mindset once you took a couple of losses?
No, because to be honest with you, I should have lost maybe I think I went like 8-0, 9-0, somewhere around there. But 2 or 3 of them should have been losses anyway. One of my absolutely. When I fought not Warren Knox, I forgot what his name was. I formed the Providence Civic Center, and I was drunk the night before the fight. I was hungover. They called me to. Oh, by the way, my wife straightened me out. I've been clean for 7 years now. But I was drunk that night. I not only not trained, but I was hungover. So when they had to call me to wake me up to go to the weigh-in that morning, my manager called me. He says, "We got the weigh-in at 10 o'clock. What are you doing? Get down here." So I hit the scale with a hangover. I had to come back home and go to sleep. The fight was at 5 o'clock. So I knocked him down the first round, couldn't finish, and went hell to 6 rounds. So he should have lost that one. Should have lost to Sullivan in Atlantic City Sands Casino. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
I should have lost them fights. That's just natural talent. But when you asked about the Maynard fight, right?
Yeah.
Well, at that point in time, I just thought that it was always going to be easy. Like, you know what I mean? Before I lost to Greg Everett, my first loss against Greg, they called me up and said, we're going to fight this guy, get a 3-fight deal with Top Rank. If you win it, get a 3-fight deal. Greg ended up getting a fight Frankie Swindell and them guys. But again, I wasn't really in shape, and I figured I can clip him in 2 or 3 rounds. And after 3 rounds was bent, I was done. There was nothing left. So he ended up stopping me. But after he stopped me, I didn't have no more really ambition to fight no more. I just wanted to party and train and get high and drink, and do all that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm a living example about. I'm a poster child for what you shouldn't do. I tell the kids all the time, don't do what Ghetto Greg did. You know what I mean? It's a wonder I even got any kind of name in boxing. The way I treated my career.
So what was the epiphanal moment for you, Greg? When was there some kind of lightning bolt road to Damascus type conversion for you?
Straighten my life out?
Yeah.
You straighten my life out?
Yes.
Well, you got to realize, I got some pretty decent money from boxing. Well, a little bit. To me, it was a lot of money because I never had money. But I went from driving a brand new '89 Cougar in not no Mercedes or nothing. I got a BMW 750 Li now, but I'm saying I had a brand new Cougar when I was like 22 years old. I know grown men didn't have no Cougar and brand new car. You know what I mean? So I went from that being famous in my little area, okay, and a ghetto superstar they call it, and I went from that to panhandling, homeless, panhandling, no money, on the corner, literally with a cup. Guys would come by and say, "Oh, the champ, here, man, give me $1," and clown me, like, you know what I mean? They'd come by and some guys had love. They'd come by, they'd dap me up, give me $20, $30. You know what I mean? But most people just clown me. Oh, yeah, look at the big boxer. Oh, he's a bump. Some guys sound. So I had a lot of street fights over that too, by the way. Because I'm not a punk. You're not going to disrespect me. So I had a lot of fights. But I was on dabbling in drugs and a stone cold-blooded alcoholic. So I went down, and one day I was just down at the I had been up all night, getting high and drinking. And the morning came, and I just had nothing. And I just sat down. I was down on Allen's Avenue. It's like this lonely area. And I sat down and I just asked God, I said, "Is this what you want for me for the rest of my life?" Then I accept it. It's got to be. I felt like Lot. Is this what you want for me? Then I'm not gonna. This is what I'm gonna be. I said, and right after I kind of feel like I said, "I don't care, whatever you want, Lord, your will, not my will." You understand? Yeah. So once I came to that conclusion, my life started getting better because the very next day I went into Salvation Army. God bless Salvation Army, saved my life. All right, went in there, got clean, and I didn't look back. Stopped my business in there. I've been in business now for 14 years. I own a power washing company. We got a couple of big contracts. So from there was the pivotal point. God is what. I don't want to make this a sermon. I don't want to make it a sermon, but listen, people that know me, I was drinking a fifth a day. I don't know if you know what a fifth is, but that's a lot of liquor. Okay?
Yeah. I know it because I spent time in America and I'm a former alcoholic. Well, not a former alcoholic, recovering alcoholic.
So if you know me, then you see me now and know the person that I am. It got to be something. If I'm telling you it was Jesus Christ, then it got to be something. You know what I mean?
You know, Greg, when I got sober, some of my more rational kind of skeptical friends had an issue with me suggesting there was anything miraculous about it, and they get uncomfortable when you mention the God word, you know, and that's what stops some people getting sober, and that's what kills some people too, because they have an issue with this whole God thing. They think AA or whatever else or NA is going to be all about that.
Well, you know what? Can I just say?
Go ahead, Mike.
Can I just say that I cannot share. I don't know about alcoholism but I do, Greg. I can relate with you when you talked about cougars, because I had a few in my time as well, and they really liked me. So
wait.
Well, I'm glad.
Wait a minute. Time out. Stop the press.
He said he had some cougars. I had cougars too.
I'm really glad.
Wait. Stop the presses, champ. Are we talking about the car, or are we talking about Cougar Women?
He was talking about cars. Listen, so
right. You had the Cougars, brother. Okay.
Silk, I'm really glad that you interrupted a crescendo about the beauty and the miracle of recovery and handing over your will and the higher power. I'm really glad you interjected. I used to get with some older women. That was perfect.
Hey, Mike, I had some of them too. You know what I mean? But I be very careful any podcast I go on talking about women and anything like that, because my wife used to kick my ass. So
yeah, exactly. But cougars will take care of any addiction. I'm telling you.
Yeah. No.
When you talk about women, Greg, it's interesting because I see some of your sermons on Facebook or your long posts, and a lot of the time you seem to stick it to the black community and the younger black community, saying that they're their own worst enemy.
I hold the black community. I'm the guy that some people in our community don't like, because I don't like blame. I don't like people to blame. I don't like our people to blame. Seems like we're just a bunch of crybabies sometimes. People get offended when I say that. We're always crying about stuff. Listen, I started my business with no credit rating, no job history. I was a boxer. I never worked. I didn't have no credit, no work history, no nothing. And I think that I'm a man of God, so I talk about abortion and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
I think, listen, statistics say that since 1973, 25% of the black population has been aborted. Okay, that's an issue in the black community. But for some reason, we never talk about it.
Crickets.
All right? Crickets. I always put that in my comment. I might put crickets. So, but let a cop choke out a black someone black. Let a cop choke out somebody, and then we're marching all over the country. I'm saying we got black kids that die in Chicago by the dozens every night, but nobody's talking about it. So I like to bring up these elephant in the room issues. When we talk about our women, because a lot of times I talk about our black women. Say, look, some of the statistics with our black women, our black women, these are the CDC. You go to CDC, blackstatistics.com, any reputable statistic gathering data, whatever, and you'll see that our women lead all other races of women in sexually transmitted diseases. Okay, this needs to be talked about. This ain't need to be something swept under the rug, but we do it. Look, 1 out of every 4 of our babies are aborted. More people die from abortion than Ku Klux Klan killed in the history of the Ku Klux Klan, than diabetes, or everything else. So the major thing that's happening in our community, we got to stop that. But no one wants to talk about that.
You think because we're like doing our own population control? Is that the kind of thing you're saying? We're controlling our own population in a way, like through abortion, is what you're saying. Like the problem is abortion is a problem because of religion or because our numbers are low, like the black.
I'm saying that this is what I'm saying. I'm saying that if 25% of our population been aborted since 1973, if we're having that many, if we only represent 13 to 14% of the population, and we are responsible for over half of the abortions, I'm saying this is an alarming stat that needs to be addressed. Not
and you believe the lack of father figures.
Not the guy that got choked out. Listen, we talk about women. Our women, you know, the fake hair weave industry is $1 billion industry. Okay, billion.
Yeah,
let that sink in.
And you think also lack of father figures is a big deal, right?
Talking about where's our money going? Like you can't say these things because then you get people heated, and you know, and our women will cuss you out. You know, I've been happily married to one African American woman for 15 years. You know, and she needs my studio's in my home, so you know, I'm gonna keep it quiet a little bit before she comes in. But you
got that couple on the door.
You know what I'm saying? My point is this: that there's some hot button issues in the black community that we need to start addressing, and not all this blaming, always crying, every time we white man's holding us back and all this stuff. I get tired of hearing that junk. You know, I get tired of hearing it. You know what I mean? I get tired of hearing that in my community we got a large Hispanic population now, and you say, oh, the Hispanics own everything. But you know, we're independent. We're the only race that's independent. We every other race seems to get that you need unity. We're the only ones that I don't need nothing. I'm gonna get the bag myself, and we need to get off of that stuff. We need teamwork. You understand?
Yeah.
And we can't make it without teamwork. And I can't look over the fence at what so-and-so's doing. I got an analogy that I use.
You understand though also, Greg, that's kind of like the vestiges of slavery. Not that I'm giving anything excuse. It's just that these are the things that would happen to any race that had gone through the
we got to stop doing that, Mike. I think what you're saying.
I understand we've got to stop doing it, and we have to take responsibility for it ourselves.
Right. So when do we? I get what you're going, but when do we say enough is enough? In other words, remember they would say Oprah when she was young, she was molested. So when do you stop crying about being molested and just say, all right, listen, the black man has always been behind the 8 ball. We have to move forward despite it. If I can't run as fast as you, does that mean I can't make it in the NFL? No, that means I got to do other things better. So when we got these crutches, we can't be crying about our crutches all the damn time. Listen, and it's another thing that gets me upset is when people say stuff like, or they do it. Listen, if there's a kid next door and a white kid next door and the black kid lives here and the white kid spins the cat around and throws the cat, kills the cat, whatever. And then the black kid swings the cat around and kills the cat, and his father says, what the hell are you doing? And the kid goes, Jimmy did it. If I'm the father, I don't care about let's clean our side of the fence up first. Then worry about all the other stuff. What happened is that we're full of excuses. Okay? All we're full of excuses as a people. We full of excuses. We blame everything and we don't take responsibility. And until we start taking responsibility for our dirt, we got to stop ignoring the things. There's nowhere in the world that we should be dying at the clips that we're dying at. Most of our people are obese in our community. You know, we got a lot of problems. Now people are saying, well, other people got it too. I don't care about other people. Let's deal with our stuff.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like we do have to understand that those are the results of what's happened. So we're going to be confused. We're going to have, higher rates of maybe abortions and crime and all the rest. It's just, that's exactly how it works, and that's how. So
you're saying it's a byproduct. Basically, you're saying it's a byproduct of the oppression, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, all right. If we go with that, Mike, then that's cool. I get it. If we go with the oppression, is the result of the depression that we got from some secret society or whatever. Okay, if that's the case, then we'll never get out of it.
So how long does it take? I was going to ask Michael, how long does it take to expunge? How many generations does it take to rid oneself of those stigmas?
I think this is my personal thoughts. No one shares this. This is my own personal stuff. I think that it's going to take 2 generations after we put the male back in the household. I think when the male got taken out of the household in 1973, you can see all you got to do is look at the numbers and statistics. We was married at an 80% clip prior to 1970. 80%. That number is down to like I think it's like 20%, or it may be lower than that in the team.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So when we put the man back in the household, right now the black man is not respected. Okay, we're not respected. You know why? Because our women is not showing us proper respect. I don't think. Now, you're gonna have sips that come on and say, "What are you talking about, Greg? I don't care about none of that stuff. You guys know I don't care about none of that stuff. None of you whoop me." I'm saying this. I'm saying that the world looks at our women's the only ones that say, "I don't need no man." You don't see Mei Ling say it. You don't see Mei Ling say it. You don't see Maria or Hispanic Maria say it. You don't see Arab whatever you say it. No other woman says that. It's only our women. So
and you say Candace Owens says a lot of the things that you say, Greg.
I love Candace Owens. Candace Owens, my girl. You kidding me?
And she gets accused of being like a.
I watch her, and you know what I mean. She gets it. She gets it.
Yeah.
But see, when you talk like me, you're considered a sellout. You're considered a Kanye West type, Trump lover, all that junk. Listen, I'm blacker than black. So you know, don't try to test my.
You know, absolutely 100%. I'm sitting with you on that. I believe that. Listen, in order for us to be whole, we need all of us in it. You know what I mean? And everyone has different thoughts, and you use that energy from different thoughts to bring it all together and to push yourself forward. Because you do, like, as a fighter, you know, you have shortcomings. If you know you have those shortcomings, it's much better you use those shortcomings, like the fear of that, to make you stronger. You know, someone has to point out those weaknesses to you as a fighter in order for you to get better. They say, listen, you're training for this fight. They know you have, every time you throw your jab, you drop it afterwards. So you know they're going to be, so now you're going to have to work hard in order to make sure that jab comes back, or you're doing something to, you know, once you throw your jab, you move your head offline so that he doesn't get a beat on your chin. And it's the same thing with this in society. It's like, we need, you know, everybody, all these shortcomings that we have and that people are pointing out, we need to pay attention to those and use those to strengthen ourselves. And just even as a human being, forget about black, white, red, whatever color it is. It's just like we need to make ourselves, obviously we do represent our race, but at the same time, you know, people do love the human story. They love the human story of coming back from, you know, an unfortunate place and being able to get back to that, you know what I mean, to that status where you're a healthy, giving human being. And that's
Mike, the numbers don't say that though. That's all I'm saying. There's all kumbaya. Listen, I tell people all the time, people say on the surface, we say it should be kumbaya. I mean, everybody get along that stuff. But people are like oil and water. If you take oil and water, put it in a jar, you shake it up, it mixes up. But if you sit it back, let it sit for a minute, the oil's going to go with the oil, the water's going to go with the water. And that's exactly the way people are. They're the same way. So, yeah, on the surface, we say all that, America, all that junk. But there is a thing called racism. I'm not saying it's not. There's these shortcuts. I'm saying, despite that, we still have to achieve. We can't say, well, I can't make it because the white man's holding me down. And then have that as a built-in excuse that I don't have to achieve. And I'm saying, yes, if we are behind the 8 ball, we have to be strong enough to achieve despite the handicap. And I'm saying,
you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
I'm not a victim, Mike.
You have to acknowledge the handicap. And you still have to get past it. But
thank you.
It's a real thing.
But you know what a lot of us are doing? We're saying, I can't do it because the handicap. Listen, back in the day, the blacks were being pulled over disproportionately to whites. Every black person in the country knew it, but every time they brought it up, the white people would say, it's all in your mind, that don't happen, blah, 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 blah. And then the law passed that the state troopers have to document every stop, and it was plainly seen that we was being pulled over disproportionately to every other race. So this stuff is real. I get it. But what do? Say I'm not going to drive a car anymore because the cops are going to pull me over? Yeah. So now you can't go to work. You dig what I'm saying? So all I'm saying is that, I get it. We're behind the 8 ball. You think I was behind the 8 ball? I'm a felon. Okay? I'm a felon. I can't get a state job, a city job. Only way I can even make money to take care of my wife and all that is to start my own business. So you know what I did? I started my own business. I said, I'm going to go to the bank with my business plan that I made with my hand. I wrote it out myself, went to the bank. The bank said, hey, we love the idea, Greg, but you don't have no work history, you have none of this. You have get out of here. All right. So I went and I worked little piece by piece. Now I own all my trucks. I own all my equipment. I own all my stuff. I don't owe no banks a damn thing. So it can't be done. I'm a guy that got 2 years of segregation in maximum security prison. I'm a guy that drank to homelessness and bums that get me preaching today. You dig what I'm saying? So I'm saying I'm tired of this crying crap. I'm not a victim. I'm a man. I'm a black man. So when I see other black men crying with their girls watching on the street with pink tutus on, talking about, they're killing us and all that junk, I get tired of hearing that because I'm a man. I'm not crying. Let our women cry. We supposed to be fighting. We're not supposed to be crying. What the hell are you talking about? Man, you done got me started, man.
I know, brilliant though, but that's why I wanted you on the show, Greg.
You know what I'm saying? You are, and it's Mike. I know you feel what I'm saying, Mike. I know you do.
Absolutely, I'm 100% belief in it, and you do have to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. But it's just like a lot of us aren't getting that message. Like nobody's telling anybody that. You know what I mean?
We gotta. I did a post on Facebook about that girl Lizzo.
Yeah.
You ever hear of her?
Yeah.
Fat slob Lizzo. And I'm saying,
I've heard of Lizzo. Just
fat slob. I don't care what no one says. Call me fat, shame, or whatever you want to say. If you're that sloppy, then you need to. First of all, you're obese or unhealthy. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing is you don't want to live that kind of example to the kids. So now you got kids eating donuts all the time, thinking it's okay to be a fat slob. This is the direct result that everybody gets a trophy era. Where back in the day, the fat ass kid didn't have to work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We had to work. I was a skinny. What'd you say, Ben?
I said that same mentality is in boxing too and everything else, which is why we lose the kind of track of the champion.
Everything. Why you think you got Rolling Romero's and Nico Ali's?
She is talented, though. She is talented.
Who? Clarissa?
She's talented. She is.
Listen, man. Listen. That shouldn't be the poster child for our black little girls. I don't give a damn how talented she is. We can't find
does she do?
We can't find a better representation of our black girls.
Okay.
We can't find a better representation. And I'm not saying just because she's fat. I'm saying because she's a fat harlot.
Yeah.
Naked and nasty and talking filth out of her mouth.
Oh, okay. I haven't heard her.
I'm a man of God.
I've heard her songs on the radio.
Listen, hey, if she can sing, that's fine. But she's singing filth. And she's also obese. She's not a good role model. And listen, black women will come up and defend that jackass. They'll defend her. They'll defend her. And how the hell do we, you know what I mean? Come on, man. Listen, and calling people deadbeat dads and all. I'm tired of it all, man. Because the thing is, the statistics say 51% of black men are unmarried and childless. 51%, okay? 51%. So if that's the case, then where's all the deadbeat dads? They're single and childless. 51%. So where's all these deadbeat dads? I know plenty of fathers that take care of their kids. You see what I'm saying? So I'm saying it's flipped upside down. I don't want to sound like too much like Kevin Samuels, but you know what I mean? But I don't know if you know who that is, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, and that was the energy that I wanted on the show as well.
We need to take these life lessons, man. These life lessons. The boxing. This is why I'm mad too, because boxing is teaching kids life lessons, but now it's not teaching kids life lessons. Back in the day, it taught us respect for our trainer. You just said it earlier, right, Mike? Respect for your trainer, your manager. We gotta go talk to my manager. I trust them. It was that trust. You know, we didn't have to worry about that. We just got to worry about training.
I think the problem was sometimes the trust was misplaced. I think Michael, one of the points that Michael was inviting us to, to conclusion he's inviting us to reach was that didn't work out, that model, because the exploitation was so rife. Whereas which is
what happens with all human beings, right? Like it doesn't matter the race. It's like there's always somebody taking advantage of somebody.
Yeah.
Whether it's the same race or whether it's, just different races. It's like someone that's the nature. That's the nature of the human being. The nature of a human being is they're always going to get in and take advantage of what they can for their best interests. Because nobody's going to love a person more than you love yourself.
Hey, what happens when we're in last though? Like, you know, like we said, everybody got their struggles or whatever. What happens if we're last? We're in last place. So we just say it happens to everybody. No, everyone is not in last place. There's winners and there's losers. So do you want to win? All right. So if you're gonna win, then you know you got to do something to lose. You got to prepare. You got to do something a little extra. So if we're last on the totem pole, then that means something ain't right and something needs to be changed. There's a say, if you do the same thing, look and get the same thing looking for a different result, they call that a fool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They call that a fool.
Insanity.
Insanity. A fool, yeah, insanity. All right. So if I'm in last place, then I need to do something to get out of last place. I can't just say, well, you know, that's just the way it is. Everyone's
but
like,
you know, we don't have, Greg, like a fighter. Like you'll have a guy who's a really good talent, but if he's mismanaged or not managed right, he's not going anywhere. Right?
That's
like
true.
you get as far as you can with talent, and you'll beat some guys, and you look good in the gym sparring with some good fighters that come through. But ultimately, when it comes down to it, there's so much talent that's wasted because they're mismanaged all the way.
Well, do you hear about a guy called Reggie Ford? I think he fought Mike McCallum on his debut and Marvin Hagler 2 fights later or something like that.
Wow.
What? Can you imagine? That's being match tough, right? That matchmaker will hate you.
That was happening back then too, right, Ben? So I can't see, that's what I mean. I can't say it's just the new school. See, that's why I got to pull it back. And, you know what I mean? This is why people punch me in the head about talking about our culture sometimes. I get carried away and say, well, Greg, you know, this stuff happened back then too, I guess. But
it was
never perfect. It was never perfect.
Ben, is people talking about death more now than they've ever done in boxing? I think they are. You don't see that, Mike?
I don't. I don't really see it. Like fighters, I think of movies.
It seems like they're talking about death more. Like I watch the Facebook boxing groups, and it seems like people are always talking about like the priority is not to get hurt. It's like nobody wants no one to get hurt, but it's almost like people
it's kind of like for shock value. I think a lot of times people say things for shock value, and if they have a limited vocabulary, they're going to say, "I'm going to kill him." I mean, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things that happens. It's just, you know, limitations. You can't express yourself. You just let out raw emotion. I mean, I have discussions with people that I know, and they're not even, they only have the excuse of being a fighter, and they'll come with these very short, succinct, not even succinct, like things that don't make any sense, but it's just about hurting. It's not about discussion or proving a point, or it has no value except for the intent of hurting somebody or offending somebody.
Yeah, you can only give words of love, words of life, and words of death. I tell people all the time, doesn't matter. There's no gray area, nothing in between. You're either gonna give words of love, the life, or words of the death. So you're either killing or you're sustaining. It's one or the other. You know, we like that gray area as people, but you know, if you keep it basic, that's really all it is. I love you, man, or I hate you, man. It's one or the other. It's nothing really in between. And listen, and that includes sarcasm, because you got a lot of sarcastic jackasses these days. That sarcasm is just hate disguised with humor. Like that's all it is. When people be sarcastic to me, I say you just hate. That's the same spirit behind you. You might just say I hate you, I'm gonna kill you, because the same spirit, okay, same spirit. So when someone says, you ever see these so-called Christians walk around and say, you have an argument with them, and they'll go, all right, whatever, I'll pray for you. That's not the spirit. You know what I mean? The spirit is selfless. You dig what I'm saying?
But
the spirit is selfless. It's not. So if you can't be selfless and vindictive at the same time, don't live in the same place.
Well, it's interesting because the capital of sarcasm has to be England.
It has to be what?
I would say so. I cannot be entirely absolved from blame on the sarcasm front. I've got to be honest. I prefer to call it satire. That's a higher level.
Hey, Ben, you're the sarcastic one, Ben?
Yeah.
I know my mom
People have said I can be scathing and sarcastic when I'm of a mood.
Yeah, that's hate disguised as humor, Ben.
But
well, obviously, I'm going to go away and think about that. You know, when we cut this show, I'm gonna go away and think about that, reflect on the behavior.
Repent. I don't know if it's really. I don't know if it really is hate. I think there really is that middle ground. There's love, there's hate, and there really is a middle ground. Like
no, do you think it's middle ground?
Yeah, there's absolutely middle ground. Yeah, there has to.
Yeah,
be.
but all right. I feel you. So, but the middle ground is huge. It's like the middle class. It's like the middle class.
Listen, it's like exactly. It's the middle
you
class.
have the rich, you have the poor. Back in the day, remember that? The middle class is the biggest. You had the rich, you had the poor. Look at the middle class now.
Yep.
There's no middle class. It's only rich and poor now.
Yo, it's just
the average American family doesn't have $5,000 in savings. That's a fact.
Yep.
So where's all these ballers and independent ballers at? Where are all these ballers that they're going on vacations to Mexico and all this when it says like 90% of American families don't have $5,000 in savings. But I'm on Facebook watching people in Bermuda and in Mexico with all this stuff. Look at me. We know what they're doing. They're taking their tax refund, and instead of putting it away and investing it and using it, they're taking it to show up on Facebook. Look at me. I got the great life. I'm living my life, best life now. You want to get down? If you follow Jesus, he said you should be able to carry your cross anyway. It ain't about living your best life now. All these want to be Christians that listen to these preachers talk about get your best life now when you really don't get it. Jesus was selfless. When he was on the cross, he said, Lord, forgive them, though they know not what they do. That means he wasn't thinking about him. He was thinking about them.
Yeah, I love it when you say that, actually, Greg. I've seen before you say, God doesn't give a damn about you living your best life, dum-dum. You say the only point of all of this is so you don't go to hell when you die. That's it.
There you go. So why are we not preaching about hell? Like you got all these prosperity preachers. They're always talking about everything except what hell is mentioned in the Bible 31 times, somewhere around there. But you don't see fire and brimstone sermons anymore. You don't see them anymore.
No, it's considered dated. Okay.
God's your breakthrough's coming. Your breakthrough's gonna be here. It's coming. All this stuff is breaking stuff.
It's all about blessings today, right? Everything's about blessings today, yes? Everybody's blessed.
Hey, listen, some people say they're blessed and their life says they're cursed.
Yeah.
Listen, you tell by the fruits. What? I don't care what you put out there. How are you living? A lot of these people that say they live in one way, go see what they're looking at your computer at night. All kind of porn, all kind of nasty stuff. But they sit out there and put it out there like they're living this blessed life. It's almost like people would rather appear something. All right, I put it like this. I told my brother this other day. People would rather people think they're rich than actually be rich.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it's really all about the smoke and mirrors.
And we live in an era. We live in an era that's obsessed with appearances and vanity and self-obsession.
So that seeps into boxing.
Absolutely, because boxing is a mirror of our age, the same way that world heavyweight champions were often thought to be a mirror of their age and the times they lived in. I've got to tell you, Michael, I think we excelled ourselves this week, don't you?
With the
crucial help of Ghetto Greg.
Oh man, hey man, I hope I didn't. Talking. You can turn people off talking about God a lot, but I'm a man of God. I'm not ashamed to talk about my God. You know what I mean? Me and Michael
have never really discussed where we're going with this show, particularly. We just feel it, but I think we always wanted to do something different that you couldn't find anywhere else that was outside the box, right? So.
Absolutely. We love outside the box.
That's why I wanted to
talk about boxing, though, right? Right, champ?
Well, we're talking about a lot of things. But I always wonder I'm always loath to close such a fascinating show and an interesting kind of interaction. But we've been on here for closing in on 1 hour, 20 minutes. So I'm pretty sure that Greg has got some things to do. He's running a successful business. I know he's got a bunch of trucks out tomorrow. So, Greg, thank you so much for coming on this evening or this afternoon. It was great. It was good. It's cool to talk to you on Facebook the way people do on a keyboard, but it's great. You always get more of a sense of someone's humanity and really where they're coming from this time. And I'm grateful to get this insight into your life and your essence and where you're coming from. Silk, as always, thank you for your part in all of this.
Hey, Greg. So thank you, Ben. Greg, are you coming to Atlantic City for the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame this year?
I went last year. I usually go every year. Hey, I was gonna ask you, Mike, are you gonna be in New York on the 24th at John Scully's thing?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely in. Are you?
I'll see you up there. I'll be there. John Scully wants to take over Times Square, so I said I gotta be there, man.
Yeah, we're gonna do that.
You know what? I really wish I could come to that as well, but I've got the kids that weekend. It's not going to happen for me. I wish it could. Not been in New York for 20 years. But guys, we'll have a quick chat off the air when I close this for the ladies and gentlemen. But for those of you who tuned in, Simon Willis, thanks as ever with the crucial work you do, coordinating this with Ace Podcast Nation. We'll be back next week with something equally scintillating, no doubt. In the meantime, be lucky, keep punching.
Hey, can I shout out